July was a super crazy month, and I found myself feeling really overwhelmed and just really exhausted. I did get to go on a lot of hikes and camping trips and things like that, but then on the flip side, there were weeks or days where I just couldn't even bring myself to do anything. I was really unmotivated to create content. I got sucked into the Instagram comparison vortex, and I don't know, I also had a bunch of chef gigs, and if you didn't know, I have a second business that I only do in the summertime where I do private chef dinners, and I had one a week, so I thought that in the other days I'd get the chance to work on Smeeny things, but the reality was, on those off days, I just couldn't bring myself to do much of anything. So I felt like I was falling behind with Smeeny. There were so many things that I want to accomplish in Smeeny right now, and I thought I'd be able to do them, and I've been able to juggle both businesses in the past during these slower months, but for the first time, it just wasn't happening. But today I thought we'd take a look back at the month, and then I would share some of the major shifts that are happening in my business and kind of how I got to those realizations. I think a lot of the time when you're running a business and you're in the middle of a big change or in a transition or you want to pivot in some way, which I feel like is exactly where I am. Like I've been pivoting my business a little bit over the last year, but at the same time, you need to keep things going so that you're making money and that you're surviving, but you also need the time to zoom out and really give yourself space to, figure out what you want to do and to start fresh. Because I feel like it's super easy to fall into your comfort zones. And by comfort zones, I mean, it's like, oh, okay, I usually post 3 times a week. This is the type of content I make. And, you kind of start doing that, even though you are trying to make these changes. So until you give yourself space to take a break or to zoom out and really evaluate and just, I don't know, I got into this place where it was like, I need to just break everything down. I need to burn it all down and rebuild it from scratch. Oh my god, this part was so much fun. Even the ranger at the trailhead was saying that we might have to glissade down the snow. So we laugh, cried, and giggled our way down this face to get to the lake. But it was so worth it. So many good memories. It was just hilarious. But anyway, back to burning it all down. Obviously that's not what I'm going to do, but that's the feeling I was having, and I think by taking the month off from even filming, it really gave me a lot of time to think, and a lot of these hikes, it was just so lovely. This was from the 4th of July. There was a lot of political stuff going on at that time, and I get really bogged down by that, and a few friends and I, we just decided, let's go camp and do this big hike. We just wanted to get away from the crowds, and we had some really amazing conversations. This was like an 11-mile hike, so we really got back there and just reminded me of why I'm doing my business in the first place. And I think by being in it too much, I wasn't giving myself space to really evaluate how I wanted things to look moving forward. So that's the first major shift, and I think it really just came from giving myself some space. The second major shift really happened from reflecting on why I was feeling so exhausted and questioning where that was coming from, because it wasn't like the normal type of exhaustion, and if you've ever been burned out before, that is one of those twinges that is how it begins. And for me last month, I think it really came from the chef gigs and this feeling like it was stifling me and preventing me from doing what I wanted to do in Smeeny, because I am not burned out with Smeeny at all. It is something I am just so excited about. There are so many new things happening that I want to see through and to put my best effort in, but I wasn't able to do that because of the chefing. I had been juggling both businesses in the summer months for the last few years. Over the years, I went from going year-round with chefing to really only doing it from June to August and only taking a few gigs a month, but this year for some reason it was just not happening. And I was feeling so frustrated by that as well. Like I was feeling stifled by the chef job. And the hard part is that I still really love cooking. And I think I posted this on Threads where it's like, just because you're good at something and have been doing it for a long time doesn't mean you have to keep doing it. And I think that was one of the things that's been holding me back is I've known that I needed to let it go for a while, but I was just afraid to, or it was just too tied with my identity. It also might have been a little bit of a safety net because even though I consider Smini my full-time business and income, having revenue from my chef business was really nice as well. But I think in order to step into the next phase of Smini, to make more impact and to grow it, then I really need to give it my full attention and put all of my energy and efforts year-round towards bringing those bigger visions and goals to life. So the second major shift was really to listen to your body and to ask yourself, why am I afraid to let something go? Or why am I afraid to start something? And when you really give yourself the chance to reflect on this deeply, you might be surprised at what the answers are, and they can lead you in your new direction. So pretty, the wildflowers are out. It's not too hot. The bugs are bad, but it's so nice. So far, not a ton of luck on the edible kind, but a lot of really cute other kinds. And the third shift came from getting really clear on what that bigger vision and that bigger dream actually is. And I know I spent a lot of time this spring, like redefining my big projects and big picture goals and things like that, but I never actually sat down to define and to get super, super clear on the actual overarching vision. And if you've been following along, you know that my word of the year is community, and that's been something really important. And building this new community, hosting these trips for other adventurous creatives, those things have become super important to me. And I think the reason for that is I've always shared my travels and adventures and outdoorsy things with you. I've always shared my values of protecting our planet and social justice and things like that as well. And the hats are really just, and I don't want to say just, I don't want to diminish this craft, but it's more like my hats are that vehicle to share this bigger world of my brand. And one of the tiny little shifts that I realized when talking with my business coach is that I've always defined it as I am building a business so that I can live a life of adventure and freedom and travel. And we flipped it a little bit and just made this minor tweak that was I prioritize a life of freedom, adventure, and travel, and so am building a business that supports that. And the people that I'm talking to after defining all of this are other people who are creative or want to have a business or do have a business and are also prioritizing adventure and travel. And it's not like I want to be an educator. I'm not necessarily trying to teach or coach, but I want to be your biz bestie. And I'm on this journey myself, and I just want to walk alongside you and bring you along on the journey. And hopefully by sharing what I'm going through, sharing my resources, sharing the things that I use and the tools that I use that are helpful to me, that you feel like you're less alone and that you're in it with someone together. And that's a huge part of this Discord community, and a huge part of hosting these trips is to actually be able to bring this community together in a very real way. So I'm just so excited. I feel like the shifts aren't really that major. I just really needed to revisit them. And these were things I already know. And I think that's why it's so hard when you're already partway through this journey. And I've been self-employed for 5 years. So it's like hard to break it all down and rebuild it that way, and to break those old patterns. And earlier, like I mentioned, it's hard to break out of those comfort zones of how you run things, but by forcing myself to do that, by hiring this coach who is pushing me to do that, it has already been so helpful. So I guess I'm just sharing these because I want you to know that you're not alone. I'm on this journey too, and I really hope that what I've been sharing with you, and by watching these vlogs or by interacting in the Discord community, coming on these trips, that you're just as excited to do this too, and we can do it together. So thank you so much for watching. I know this was not my usual type of vlog. I will be back to vlogging very soon, but that's what happened in July, and it was so important, and I'm just so looking forward to everything we have on this journey together in this next phase. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.